everybody, welcome to Real Rebel. Today I am going to tell you my top 11 favorite movies of all time. It goes to 11, just like in the movie Spinal Tap, which isn't on my top 11 list. So, number 11, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters came out in 1984, and it is just a thrill ride from start to finish. I'm not going to go into full reviews of each movie, but, you've got Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson, and Sigourney Weaver, and Rick Moranis, and they're all top-notch in this movie. There's enough of a real-world quality to it that I think really makes this movie work. Like, these characters feel like real people, especially the Sigourney Weaver character, because we have to follow her. She's not into ghosts. She's just a regular woman just going about her day, and she gets terrorized these things. So who's she gonna call? Number 10, P2. So P2 is a horror film, came out sometime in the mid to late 2000s, and my brother-in-law showed this to me, and I just love this movie. It kind of has a comedic twist to it. The villain thinks he's Elvis, and he has trapped this young woman who in her office building in the parking garage, and her mission of the movie is to get out. And she doesn't do a lot of really stupid things in the movie. She's actually very smart, and she does the things that you would do or I would do if we were in the situation. She really thinks things through, and Roger Ebert actually gave this movie 3 stars, which is pretty rare for him to have given a horror film like this 3 stars, and he gave it to this movie for a reason. It's good, so check it out. Number 9, Psycho. Psycho came out in 1960, and it's this Alfred Hitchcock classic horror film. You're following this character, Marion Crane. She's stolen a bunch of money. She's on the run, and, as she's driving along, she gets tired, and this rain starts coming in, and so she's got to pull over. She's got to go sleep for the night, and she ends up at, the Bates Motel, of all the places, and it's run by Norman Bates, who's a psycho, and this movie does this whole switcheroo where we end up following his character and not hers, and so it was a great twist in there, and it has just that classic shower murder scene in it, and it's got great music. Highly recommended. Number 8, The Shining, and it stars Jack Nicholson in probably the role of his lifetime. Everybody knows here's Johnny and all that. I love this movie for the cinematography. Stanley Kubrick did a fantastic job directing this film, and it's about this family that's trapped at this hotel that they're caretakers for the winter as it's closed down for the season. And Jack Nicholson is an alcoholic, so being trapped in isolation in a really cold, snowed in location with an alcoholic, what could go wrong? Number 7, Before Sunrise. Before Sunrise starred Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. It came out in 1995, and it's one of the most romantic movies I've ever seen. I love it. I saw it probably when I was 15 or 16, and I just fell in love with this movie. And it's about these 2 young people who they just happen to meet each other on a train. He's an American, she's a French woman, and they're going through Europe, and he asks her if she wants to spend the day with him in Vienna, which is his next stop before he has to go back to the United States. And she said, he's Ethan Hawke, so of course she says yes. And so they end up walking around the city, and it's beautiful, and these 2 characters fall in love. It's a great movie. Watch it. Number 6, The Weatherman. The Weatherman stars one of my favorite actors, Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage he's quirky in this one. And I love it. This movie actually had an impact on me because his character is just, he's trying to figure out life. He's trying to figure out like how to be fulfilled, what he needs. He's trying to do things that kind of go against who he really is inside, because he thinks that they are the things that will fulfill him. He thinks if he becomes a a prolific writer like his father, world-renowned, that will make him successful. He thinks that if he can get his ex-wife back in his life, that will make him successful. And it turns out that he needs to let things go. And it's a great movie. He needs to be the weatherman that he isn't. Stop trying to be something that he isn't. So, great movie, kind of a hidden gem. Watch it. Number 5, Muriel's Wedding. So Muriel's Wedding came out in 1994, I believe, and it's an Australian movie starring Toni Collette, and she believes that the only way for fulfillment in life is to be married. She's obsessed with getting married. She collects bridal magazines. She's obsessed with ABBA, and there are tons of ABBA songs featured in this film. She lives in this town called Porpoise Spit. She thinks by changing her name and her identity and, basically telling a bunch of lies that she will become a successful person, but as the movie goes on, she realizes that she needs to change and that she needs to grow up. And it is a beautiful movie, and I highly recommend it. Number 4, Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is part of the trilogy, the Evil Dead trilogy, and I believe that Evil Dead 2 is the best of the 3. And the reason for that, it takes the horror of the first movie and the comedy of the third movie, Army of Darkness, and it blends them together beautifully. And it stars Bruce Campbell, and he's going up against all these deadites in this cabin in the middle of the woods, and he just has to do all these crazy things, and it's hilarious. It's an awesome thrill ride, action-packed from start to finish, and I love it and always will. Number 3, Candyman. Candyman, this was my first review that I did on the Real Rebel channel, and it's just wonderful. The atmosphere, the cinematography, the acting, everything about this movie, the Cabrini Green, all of it. This character that's wrongly accused, and that wonderful, beautiful villain in there. It's a movie that I will, if someone said, let's watch Candyman, I will always say yes. Number 2, Dark City. Dark City came out in 1998, and I would have seen it probably when I was 16 or 17, and I remember just coming across it at the video store and looking at the videotape, and Jennifer Connelly's in it, she's in Labyrinth, and then Richard O'Brien, who was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show as Riff Raff, and I'm like, okay, sold. I'm watching this movie. I have no idea what it is, but I'm gonna watch it. So I picked it up, I watched it, and the movie just was complete 100% wow. And the movie stars this character who he wakes up in a bathtub, he doesn't know who he is, and then he's trying to figure out who he is, and then he's going through this world and he doesn't understand what this world is or who these weird strangers people are, and he's the only one who can see them, and how come all these people fall asleep at midnight except for him, and he has to piece all this together, and when he pieces it together, it is fantastic. Watch it. Number 1, Flash Gordon. Yeah, that one. Yeah, Flash. That one. It's got Queen. They did the soundtrack to this movie. So I remember my sister showed me this movie, and it was sometime in college, I think, and she showed me this movie, and I was just in stitches from start to finish, from just the beginning credits to the end. There are just all these wonderful cheesy lines in it. It is probably, like, if you had to define what a campy movie is, this is it. It is 100% camp, and it just has these crazy, just off-the-wall lines in it, and I think that's what got me. Like, for instance, these Hawkmen at the end, after Flash has saved the day, they form these letters in the sky that say, "Thanks, Flash." Just so stupid, but it's so funny, and I love it. And there's this other part where Flash is talking to his friend, the leader of the Hawkmen, and he goes, "Flash, where are you?" And Flash goes, I'm flying blind on a rocket cycle." And the other guy goes, "Flying blind on a rocket cycle." Stupid, but the best line ever is, so the love interest in the movie, her name is Dale, and Flash at the end, he's going to be flying his rocket ship through Emperor Ming's castle, and he thinks he's going to die, and so he tells the Hawkman dude, he says, tell Dale, I know it would have been good." And I'm just like, what? That's awful and amazing at the same time. So it's a great movie. I love it. Pure camp. Best movie of all time to me. And a little bonus. I didn't put these movies on my top 11 list because they are trilogies, and I didn't know if that would be fair. And they kind of are in a league of their own. So the first trilogy would be the Star Wars trilogy, the original, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Wonderful, awesome, amazing adventure movies, the best ever. Watch them if you haven't. Oh my gosh. And then the other set is the Back to the Future trilogy. I don't think any movies explain time travel better or in a more fun way. And you've got Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and they are absolutely wonderful in these movies. They've got great chemistry together. They're hilarious and just so good. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you can, or subscribe for more so you can follow my channel. I really appreciate it. This is so much fun. Thank you. Bye.